ladies and gentlemen, probably one of the things hit even harder than the medical community right now, at least so far, is the Airbnb community. Airbnb, of course, in this gig economy, is something that has changed the way that we live, changed the way that a lot of us travel and move. The subreddit is in chaos. You either love Airbnb or you absolutely hate it. And man, I tell you, in our area near Toronto, we definitely don't quite like it. I mean, if you own an Airbnb place, and hey, good for you, but if you don't, oh man, let's just say land is not getting any cheaper. Not until this coronavirus came out, anyways. So let's take a look at this one particular article. Airbnb broadens cancellation policy for travelers affected by coronavirus pandemic. They're also paying out 250 million to hosts that have canceled bookings due to corona pandemic. Now, within the R Toronto subreddit, there's a lot of people who are they do not like Airbnb sites because man, in Toronto, you have so many uh, uh, you have so many apartments that are Airbnb all over the place. And you don't want Airbnb people to be your neighbors because they're just really loud. And a lot of times when you're in Toronto, your apartments have really thin walls. I remember one friend telling me that an issue he had is when he was in his bathroom, he could hear somebody else peeing. He could hear somebody else peeing on the other side of the wall in somebody else's apartment. So there's that for you. COVID-19 could mark the end of Toronto's Airbnb era for good, and good riddance. Here's how to keep it that way. We got so many people in the area who are making all of their money off Airbnb. Uh, they're making money off owning land, basically. And that's a bit of a bummer. That's a little bit of a bummer. I mean, there's so many people these days that don't have a backyard. They don't have much room. Land is so expensive. We're all crammed in like sardines. And then all of a sudden a pandemic happens. And oh, man. Oh man. Anyways, if you're on the Toronto Reddit, there's a newish, thin apartment building beside Sam's Food Store in Kensington, where one single person literally has 20 listings in the building. There are 25 total listings in that building. They basically built a rental purpose building and then converted it to a hotel. That's just what's happening, man. This gig economy is coming in and it's kind of changed the rules a little bit. I mean, Uber versus taxi, a hotel versus Airbnb. It's a new way of doing things that's not quite regulated the same way as other places are. And yeah, you can tell in Toronto, unless you own this stuff, unless you own an Airbnb, you are not a fan of Airbnb. Let's check this one out. Need to find that article about how one Airbnb owner around 5 properties was complaining about how high their mortgages are. Now they don't have any occupants. Yeah, no sympathy there. No sympathy for you, Mr. Rich Guy who has all of this stuff. No thanks. Ponder selling as bookings vanish. Yeah, it'd be nice if the price of the housing market came down a little bit so people with families could actually, have a place to raise their families and have rooms big enough to. Oh man, my house is not big enough for all these kids that are running through all the time. It's just something else. Anyways, that's it for me, folks. Toronto Airbnb. It's changing things up. Have a good one, folks. Take care of each other.